Let me show you how I made this Bedazzled 40-ounce Cherry Coquette Leopard Tumbler. So you're going to need a 40-ounce tumbler. I'm also going to use Royal Glitz glue, clear, red, and black rhinestones in sizes 2M through 5M. I'm using printable vinyl. I made the design in Canva, and a wax pencil. So, of course, you're going to need to sand your tumbler. Can't stress this enough. Sand, wipe with alcohol. It's perfect prep for any rhinestone tumbler or any rhinestone project. Next, we're going to add the printable vinyl to the tumbler. I believe this is just a generic brand. I made the design in Canva. I just looked up cherries and I looked up a leopard bow and I put them together and printed them out. I wanted to do something different. I love leopard print, so I had to incorporate that in any way possible. So I'm just going to cut it out. And although the black isn't the same color, trust me when I say you won't even be able to tell the difference once we finish the tumbler, like add the rhinestones and everything. But I won't lie, I was worried. I was very worried because it was off by so much, and I'm not even sure why, but it worked out. So yeah, I'm just applying the cherry design to the tumbler, and I wanted to give the illusion like it was a pattern, and I cut off the bottom to make it look like, you know, like the design ended there, but it was pretty cool. Easy. I didn't have leopard vinyl, so I opted for the design on Canva, and I just printed it out on my inkjet printable vinyl. I'm gonna link all this in my Amazon storefront for you. But yeah, you just apply it however you like. I just tried to make it look like a design, but you know, to each his own. So next, I wanted to add these little resin pieces. They're shaped like cherries. I've done this before with a previous tumbler of mine, and they are so cute. But of course, you're going to need to sand them. You do want these to last forever on here, or at least as long as they can. I recommend sanding everything and wiping with alcohol, of course. And then we're going to place them onto the tumbler. I tried to find a little pattern to do with the little cherries, but I just kind of winged it. Nothing planned. Applied a little bit of glue and laid it there flat. If you're doing like 2 different sides, allow it to dry for at least 15 minutes. That's what I did here off camera. So just keep that in mind so that they don't fall in, they like slide a little bit because of the surface is a little weird. So just give it some time to adhere to the tumbler, at least dry the glue to dry a little bit before you place them on the other side. So first we're going to do the stems of the cherries. I'm using, I believe this color is emerald. I use mainly 3M for the stems, and I think 1 4M at the top there. Pretty simple. Only took maybe a minute. I like to start with the details first, especially with a project like this with so many details. So I started with the cherries first. And next I'm going to do the bow. The bow, I used clear rhinestones. I used all different sizes. I started off with, I believe this was a 4M rhinestone or a 3M. And I kind of outlined the bow first. And then I went in with the filler stones in random sizes just to make it look fuller. And then I'm going to continue to outline the bow and add the clear rhinestones around it. And then I'm going to go in with the filler stones. I did use 4M fill in some of the sizes, but for the most part, I used a couple of other sizes. And you're just going to continue to do this for every part of the leopard bow. I chose the clear transparent rhinestones because they don't have like that AB coating, so it actually gives the design a chance to sparkle through, which I'm so happy it did. I just love how it came out, you guys. I just can't get enough of leopard. But yeah, just go outline the leopard and then fill in as you go. I think it's easier that way. So next we're going to go ahead and do the cherries. Of course, I'm going to use a clear rhinestone for the white part to limit the amount of rhinestones I'm using. I only wanted to stick with the 3 colors because I think anything other than that, you would have just got lost. I mean 4 because of the stem of the cherries. What I'm doing with the cherries is I'm starting with the little gloss part, the white there. I used the clear rhinestones. I think it was 3M and 4M. Whatever fits. Whatever fits. So I did that, and then I outlined the cherries with a size 5M rhinestone, and then I did like the scattered method. I like how the scattered method looks with designs like these because it's not too big and it's not too small. It's just right. Enough for me to do the scattered method because I really don't like it, and that's just my preference. I just think it just takes so much time. So I did it for the cherries because it really looks more, I don't know, it just looks good. So I'm just doing that there. I think I did the same thing with this one here, except I used smaller sizes on the side there. And then of course going in with the scatter method. Which method do you like when you fill in your design? If you ever done one. If not, do you prefer to do the honeycomb method, or do you think like doing the scattered method is easier? But for the most part, I did like the way I did the cherries. It's just so pretty. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead, apply a little glue at a time. I think I removed this rhinestone because it wasn't as like shiny as the other ones. I'm going to continue to just place the rhinestones in the scatter method until I can't no more. Just eyeing it to make sure the rhinestone will fit. And of course it does. And this is how it turned out. So I'm going to go ahead and use this acrylic marker to paint that silver part red because I'm going to apply red rhinestones there. And I thought it would be best if the background matched the rhinestones, only because that silver kind of shines through. So I just want to create that illusion that it's red back there, even though it's not, and it's perfectly fine. This is actually my first time using an acrylic marker on a stainless steel tumbler. So I'm just eager to find out how it turns out after a couple of washes. But yeah, I'm going to start my honeycomb method. I'm placing 1 rhinestone in between every 2 rhinestones until I cannot. And a good rule of thumb is start where the handle is, because I notice like when I do these types of tumblers, there is a small space that doesn't like cover a 5M rhinestone and you need a filler. So I try to keep that space towards the handle because it's only a little bit of space to go down for the honeycomb method to the handle from the top of the cup. So just keep that in mind. Try to keep it as close as possible to that side because you want everything else to kind of line up later on when you do the full tumbler. Because right now, this is the foundation line. So this is going to determine how the honeycomb method turns out. Now, if it's your first time, don't worry. Don't be overwhelmed. It may or may not be even, but you can finesse it. And I'm going to show you how. I'm going to show you because I actually messed up. But before we do that, I'm going to show you my little trick on how I keep this line straight. I use like this little squeegee thing and I go around and I just like tap the rhinestones down. You see how they moving a little bit? And that's what I do to keep the line straight and make sure it's on a flat surface. So if you ever second guess yourself about that first line, just use that little squeegee to go and tap down those rhinestones and keep them in place. And that is a really big help. So you heard it from me, but you didn't. So next, I'm going to go ahead with the black rhinestones. Now here, I'm just wanting to show you with the honeycomb method and with the 2 different color blacks. You see how you can't really tell that the printable vinyl is kind of lighter than the other one because the honeycomb method is hiding that? That's the reason why I wanted to do the honeycomb method, because with the scatter method, there is like a small possibility that you do see like little cracks, but I didn't want to do anything extra like color it or use acrylic paint. I thought the honeycomb method would hide it, and it did. And it did, and I recommend it for everybody. So yeah, moving right along, we're gonna go ahead and start adding the black to on top of the red rhinestones. I let my foundation line, I let that dry. Give it 15 minutes. Don't rush it, because if the glue isn't kind of like dry enough, it will move. And I feel like this is where I kind of messed up at, because I think I was just rushing. I don't know. Like, I was so eager to do something that I was rushing. I was so excited. I seen how it was coming out. I was like, oh my goodness, I should go ahead and bedazzle the cherries. But I'm like, maybe that's too much. Maybe it's too late. I was just rushing. That's all. But a good rule of thumb is, when you're doing like your honeycomb method, as long as you put one rhinestone in between every two rhinestones, no matter what angle, it's going to line up. But you do see me fixing it here. And this is where I second guess myself, because I'm like, why are the rhinestone moving so much? Like, why is it, out of place? And that's why I felt like I did something wrong. But I still continued, because it was too early to really tell if I really messed up or not. But then I just kept adjusting these rhinestones here, so I wasn't sure. But anyways, just continue to do your honeycomb method. As long as you place a rhinestone in between every two rhinestones, you should be good. And I feel like the placement of those little cherries, they really made me second guess myself. Like, I don't know, because they're like on a slant, and it's just a lot going on with this tumbler. So I recommend that you take time. Just take your time. Do not rush like I did. I did this in a couple of hours, but I don't recommend it for anybody. Take your time. Do section by section. Put 30 minutes into it, and just keep it pushing. But yes, so continue my honeycomb method, and now in a few, you're going to see how I connected the lines and how I know I messed up on the honeycomb method. But because we're still applying the rhinestones in a honeycomb like form, you can't really tell. And I'm going to show you right about here. So I made this line. It lined up with the other line. I counted the lines, and then I'm like, this 5M stone didn't fit. So I kept like adjusting it and moving stuff around, and then I made it fit. Now, I wouldn't normally recommend this, but because I already felt like the line was jeopardized, I was like, you know what? We're just going to continue it, because this line is going to go into that other cherry that's bedazzled. So you might not see it as much, and it might not affect the bottom, as long as I keep everything together, like every line matches up with the other. And it did work out. But I did notice towards, like, when I was doing the base, it was a little off. You might not catch it, but I definitely did, and it bothers me. But you can't be perfect, and I gotta remind myself not to. But here is another video, another part of the video, where I continue to connect the honeycomb method. And this is how I saved myself. I'm like, okay, it fits perfectly. I said, okay, cool. So if this fits perfect, that means everything else is good. So yeah, moving along. You can make up for mistakes. Just keep going with the pattern and make sure it's as straight as possible. So here, I'm just applying the filler rhinestones. I'm using 2M, 3M, and 4M. Now, when you do filler rhinestones, you want to use the smallest rhinestone as much as possible. So, like, underneath those cherries, I was using 2M and 3M. Mainly 2M. And I regret using black for this starter video. I kind of regret doing this as a starter video. I think I might do another one, because like I couldn't really see already because of how I positioned the camera, and then of course I couldn't really see because the black rhinestones, there's just something about them, like after a while it looks like it's there but it's not. So you see me pushing the rhinestone because I thought that it wouldn't fit, but it actually did. So just be mindful when you're using black rhinestones. Try to you know, have a bright light over it and maybe like some type of magnifying glasses or readers or whatever makes you comfortable. My head is usually where the camera is set up. But yeah, I'm just applying just filler stones. And I do have more videos on filler stones. Like the Sol de Janeiro creams, the collagen that I made recently. You could check those out. It's kind of the same method, just applying a little bit of glue and then working my way with the glue. So here is a little close-up of how I did like the scatter method, I guess, with the filler stones. Just placing what I think fits best, along with the smallest size. And this is how it turned out. And I was so happy that you can't see like the black from the printable vinyl. So that was a blessing. And from here on is like, you already did the hard part. This is the easy part, the base. You're just going to do everything that you did above, but in a smaller space. I wish I recorded doing the cherries, but it was basically just applying filler stones. And if a stone didn't fit, I just left it. Yeah, but it turned out pretty cool. I was mainly worried about that off black color from the printable vinyl. That was really my concern and how I was going to hide it. So I'm glad that I was able to hide it. So here I'm just gonna continue doing the honeycomb method. I'm gonna go down, and you're gonna need filler stones when you do the honeycomb method because this is a tapered tumbler towards the bottom. So just use your smaller stone if you have any left, but you should. It's not too many stones I use for the smaller stones, but make sure your line is straight. Just place the one rhinestone in between every two rhinestones and you're good to go. But you'll start to notice if it isn't straight. And if so, you just go back and adjust. It's okay to go back and adjust. Just do it before the glue like hardens, because once the glue is there, that's just about it, you know? So here is my honeycomb method. I'm going along with this cherry, but I'm applying some filler stones around the cherry and in that little space between the two 5M rhinestones because it didn't fit. Like I said, it's a tapered tumbler at the bottom, so it definitely needs filler stones. There's no hiding it. It looks like it's a straight tumbler at the bottom, but it's not. It's a tapered one. So just be mindful of that when you're doing your base on Stanley's or any tumbler that's like this. I'm not sure about simple modern tumblers, but I could do a tutorial on that one as well. I think I have one of those. And next is the last part. So for this part, I tried to follow the honeycomb method that is right above, only to give it like that seamless look. And you're definitely going to need your filler stones. I use 3M, 4M, and 2M. And to complete the look of the honeycomb method, you just place that filler stone in between those rhinestones where it doesn't fit for the honeycomb method. So you see me doing that here, but it is kind of hard to tell because, like I said, once again, black, I don't know. To me, it's kind of hard. Like just reviewing the video is like, okay, I can't even tell what stone I'm using. But the primary stone is 5M. And closer to the bottom, I use the filler stones. I believe it's 2M, 3M, and 4M. Whatever fits, because it just kind of caves in. But I am going to show you from a different angle too. I like to bedazzle this way so I could kind of see like the light directly onto the tumbler. And it just works better for me with the black rhinestones. Like I said, it's a little trickier for me to see because usually I'm like, my head is literally where the camera is. So I'm doing this from like at least 12 inches away from my face. So yeah, just same method. You're applying one rhinestone in between every two rhinestones. If the rhinestone doesn't fit, choose the smallest rhinestone that will fit without jeopardizing your honeycomb line or the straight line. And you're going to continue to do this until you get towards the end in that little space between the bottom of the cup and that little curve there. And for the most part, I think this tumbler wasn't so bad. Do I regret doing it as like my first 40-ounce tumbler to YouTube? Yes. But I just love how it turns out. Like, it took my breath away. I was just like, it's so beautiful. Like, I just love it. I love it. And leopard is in, or it just makes me joyful. What's your favorite pattern? Comment below. But here is the final product. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you want me to do a different tutorial, maybe something a little bit more simpler, even though I already have that plan. Let me know what your favorite print is. And once again, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel for more Bedazzled content.